Fight we thought we might not ever see.
But now, it's time to call it a day.
Just hours after his loss to Malinga, Ben knew he had to fight on.
I knew deep down it wasn't me, and everybody knows it wasn't me.
The man to bring him back was the Celtic warrior Steve Collins, and when they met on Tuesday, the war of words began.
I thought I was going to knock him out, yeah. I thought I was going to stop him. Obviously, he may disagree, but I honestly believe, and I'm sure it's going to happen, and I can argue with him, but it's not about arguing with him, I'll just get out and do it.
You see, he's trying to fight me out like he did Eubanks. Can't do that with me. Can't do that with me. Then I went up to him. You're struggling with middleweights. Struggling. Cornelius Carr and Neville Brown. A powerful super middleweight. Powerful. And nobody ain't worked his body like I will.
Collins trained in Jersey as usual and in public here earlier this week. For Ben it was Tenerife, but behind closed doors and with a new attitude.
I'm not going in all stiff and rigid. I'm going in like, have a good time.
There's a new fire in me that I haven't had for a while, and you'll see a lot more than you've seen in the past, because obviously I want this fight big time, and because of Nigel Benn's style, my style will adapt to the style that I had in the beginning, and I think you'll get a very entertaining fight.
I know when I go to the well, it won't be dry. I can tell you that now.
Now that I'm the champion, I will not do what he has done. I will give him the chance he never gave me. And when I beat him, I won't feel any remorse for all. No, I'll feel like he had it coming. It was due. You know, I owe him this beating.
Gary Norman gathering the thoughts of two highly experienced, seasoned professionals preparing for a major event in the ring behind me here at the 9X Arena. How would it go tactically? That's the task we set for Barry McGuigan, and Barry has been trying to foresee how the fight could be made here.
In the early days, Collins was known for his boxing and counter-punching. He used his quick reflexes to slip opponents' punches and come back with his own. He controlled things from the centre of the ring. This was the style he used to beat Eubank first time round. But in their second meeting, he rushed out from the starting blocks and mauled his way to a convincing points win. Since then, he has dismantled Cornelius Carr and Neville Brown with similar brawling tactics. This is exactly the type of fight that Nigel Benn likes. He relishes a war, and his opponents who have been drawn in can't match his raw power and ferocity. But there is a vulnerability to Ben. He has been caught and hurt himself, but this is when he's at his most dangerous. We have seen Collins go down, and this is the way Ben can win inside the distance. But last time out, he was out-jabbed, out-boxed, and outclassed by Sugar Boy Malinga. And if Collins can revert back to his old style of boxing, he can bust up and beat Ben and retain his title on points.
All right, Barry, those are the things that may have gone through Steve Collins' mind. How do you think he is prepared to do the job here tonight?
Well, he mentioned in the interview that he would revert back to his old style. That old style was counter-punching, standing in the centre of the ring, picking his punches, moving off to the right, moving off to the left, slipping Ben's punches and trying to come back, but carefully picking his punches, working off the jab. If he does the other thing, which Ben wanted to do, draw him into a maul, it could be a very short fight.
Jim, is Ben as dangerous now as he was 2 years, 4 years ago?
Yeah, definitely. Ben is a wonderful gymnasium worker. He's always in the best of shape, and the power is the last thing a fighter loses. He's just as dangerous, and maybe even more so, because he'll probably take more chances tonight than he would normally do. But I think that in the end will be his downfall.
Why?
Well, Steve Collins changed his style to suit Eubank. He knew he had to take the play away from Eubank and set the pace. Against Nigel Benn, he'll be much more careful. He'll use his old defensive tactics, but still break up with attacks as well. So he knows exactly what he has to do to beat Nigel Benn. Nigel, I think, will have a final fling. Nigel will play to the crowd. A tremendous atmosphere here today. This is a wonderful atmosphere. Nigel Benn will be more affected by that atmosphere than Steve Collins. I think he'll play to that atmosphere and make maybe too many mistakes. Neither
man has ever dodged anybody as they've built spectacularly successful careers, and for Collins in particular, this is one fight he has wanted for a long time.
I've been chasing you for a long time. I've been looking for you, and now I finally have you where I want you, in my ring, fighting for my title, which I'm going to keep.
I'm sure this man has other ideas. Lackluster last time out, doesn't look very lacklustre tonight, does he, with his trainer Kevin Sanders, as Nigel Benn prepares for a 15th world title fight. The action's next. We're live tonight at the brand new 21,000-seater 9X Arena in Manchester for the most hotly awaited domestic fight of the year on home territory. The Eagles, Van Morrison and Ray Charles and Tom Jones have been top of the bill acts over the summer, but I venture to suggest that none have quite captured the imagination of the public like Steve Collins and Nigel Benn. So is it one curtain call too many for Benn? We're about to find out. Our master of ceremonies tonight, Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the evening, the WBO Super Middleweight Championship of the world. And we please welcome to the ring first, the champion of all the title, the warrior, Nigel Benn.
Months after he announced his retirement in the ring, Nigel Benn is back. The question tonight is Ben on the slide? Has the flag gone out? Or was the defeat against Sugar Boy Malinga and the world title defeat just a blip? He seems relaxed and focused. He seems to have trained perfectly in Tenerife, but only when the action starts will we really get the answers. "32 years old now in his 15th world title fight, and this evening getting a purse of £800,000, which reportedly is going into a pension fund. And Frank Bruno there, acting as cheerleader for Ben, just as Ben did for Bruno on the night that Frank became WBC heavyweight champion last year against Oliver McCall. They remain good friends. Soulmates even. Will we see the old Ben tonight? One thing's for certain, just judging by the size of the crowd here, jam-packed full at the 9X Arena, he remains a massive success at the box office.
He certainly looks a little more relaxed for this fight, doesn't he? Enjoying the atmosphere there.
Kevin Sanders, the trainer, Peter de Freitas, the manager there. music of Mission Impossible being used to introduce Steve Collins tonight. I'm not sure it's a Mission Impossible. He's starting as a favourite with the bookmakers. The man who sent Chris Eubank into retirement, will he now do the same permanently to Nigel Benn? Collins predicts he wins this fight possibly inside 7 rounds. Collins, the master of the mind games, a Celtic warrior who's come quite a long way from the days when he was an electrician in a Dublin brewery. Collins always brings to the ring with him a kind of manic intensity. He goes through this ritual of saying, I'm going to win, geeing himself up, pumping himself up. Did the same at the weigh-in when a few insults were exchanged last night, but that's all par for the course in the build-up to these big fights these days. Underrated fighter in many ways, Glenn.
Very underrated. He's come along the hard way. He's been in with tough fights. He's had his successes, and this is a fight he really wants. He sees this as, you know, he can get a lot of credibility in putting Ben into retirement.
Fourth defence for Steve Collins tonight. He's the younger man by a year, the taller man at 5'11", Collins. Collins originally over the limit and then wildly inside at the weigh-in, mysteriously yesterday. Total fights, Ben has had 46, Collins 35. They both lost 3. Ben with the higher knockout percentage. The big puncher. The 3 knockdown rule will be in effect here. Mandatory count, no standing 8. Only the ref can stop the fight, and the bell will save the fighter only in the last round. The odds for this fight: Steve Collins 13-8 on to win. Ben odds against at 6-5. You can get 25-1 the draw. We await MC Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, this contest is second and conducted under the rules of the World Boxing Organization. President Francesco Valcastel, whose supervisor at ringside is Mr. Nick Cariotis of Chicago, USA. The supervisor from the British Boxing Control is Mr. John Morris, and the steward in charge, Mr. Dennis Walker. The officials appointed by the World Boxing Organization, the judges at ringside, Mr. Michael Pernick from Chicago, Mr. William Lurch from Chicago, and Mr. Paul Lawler from Aurora, Illinois. The timekeeper, Mr. Frank Cakewell from Sheffield, and the referee in charge of action this evening, and in charge of its 15th World Title Contest, Mr. Gino Rodriguez from Puerto Rico. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, from Manchester's fabulous 9X Arena, live on Sky Sports Big Time Boxing, and the boxing fans throughout the world, it's big fight time. This is a contest of 12 3-minute rounds to decide the WBO Super Middleweight Championship of the world. Sponsored by Beamish Scouts and promoted for Sports Network by Frank Warren, who asks, who is the ultimate warrior? Is it introducing from the red corner, wearing the black trunks and coming from Ilford, London? He weighed in at 11 stone, 13.5 pounds, and from a professional record of 46 contests, the ring the former WBO middleweight and former WBC super middleweight champion of the world, and tonight is the challenger for the title, the Dark Destroyer, the Warrior, Nigel Benn. Or is it in the blue corner, wearing the tartan trunks and coming from Dublin in Ireland, he has a professional record of 35 contests, 32 wins, 17 by way of KO with 3 losses. He weighed in at 11 stone, 11 3/4 pounds, and comes to the ring as the former undefeated WBO middleweight champion and current super middleweight champion of the world, making the 4th defense of his title tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Celtic Warrior, Steve Collins. The referee, Mr. Reno Rodriguez, will now give his instructions to both boxers.
Well, they really were short final instructions. 12 rounds, the WBO Super Middleweight Championship. Can Nigel Benn prove everybody wrong again? Those who've said he's a washed-up fighter, will he produce a performance like a wounded animal? The defeat by Malinga has hurt his pride. It could make him dangerous. But is there any fire still left? Collins in his usual tartan trunks.
And really, what sort of fight is Collins going to fight? Is he going to be the all-out aggressor, or is he going to try and use his head a little bit and try and box when he needs to and fight when he has to?
Key moment will be what happens when Benn lands for the first time. Part of Benn's strategy is, I know, to go for body punches. Or will Collins stick to that same old brawling, marauding style that has served him so well so far in the 2 wins over Eubank, who could have been weight trained? And remember the last 2 challenges, Cornelius Carr and Neville Brown, were really just blown up middleweights. Good punches from Collins early on here. Benn is very much the full-blown super middleweight with some real power. Remember too that Eubank, in one of the fights, did have Collins on the floor and didn't really follow up. Left hook gets through from Benn, and it looks like we're going to have the out-and-out slugging match and brawl, possibly.
Yes, with the type of personalities they are, this is the fight we thought it would be. We didn't think it'd be a boxing match. We thought it'd be a brawl.
Benn nods to his corner, smiles. Shots again from Collins. He seems to be making that a particular target himself too. How deep is Benn's desire to reprove himself all over again? Nice and elusive there from Benn.
Collins isn't rushing in wildly, but he is trying to load up very heavily with his punches when he is in close.
Benn slipping the punches quite well now that he's got into a rhythm in the second half of this first round. Benn's corner telling him to jab and be first. Among those doing the shouting in that corner, Frank Bruno. Rather lunged in there, missed wildly Benn.
It's just a little bit keyed up. He's got to start and use his jab. It's a good weapon, and then build up with the bigger punches.
Collins really is a battle-hardened warrior. Only 3 very good fighters have beaten him. The crowd very much pro-Benn. Chance of Nigel ringing around the arena, but Collins, I think, won the first. Welcome back to the 9X Arena. Good body shots by Steve Collins in that first round, Glenn.
Yes, I think he did enough to win. He was landing the solid punches, good head punches there. As Benn's coming in, not really getting on target with any of his own. So a good round for Collins to start.
Just a slight modification of the Collins style we've seen in recent fights. Just looking for counter punches and then body punches to follow. Just lost his balance for a moment there. Really does have a rock-solid chin as well, Collins, normally. Can Ben move him? Can he make a dent in that normal resilience? Collins in his 8th world title fight and Ben in his 15th.
Good right hand from Collins. He's just got the timing a little better in the early part.
Really found his rhythm yet, Ben? Can he find one of those honey punches to send Collins reeling backwards and really send some shock waves?
Becoming a little untidy. They're both very keyed up for this fight. They know it means so much. And they're just becoming untidy inside as they try to get position.
Almost testing each other's strength inside, you feel. An untidy second round so far. Collins, who has vast respect for Ben, said he needs to feel a bit of fear of his opponents to produce the best, and Ben inspires that fear in him. He's worked very hard in Jersey for this fight, but so too has Nigel Benn in Tenerife, though this time he's locked the holidaymakers out. Two of them exchanging, and Collins leaving himself very open there and could have been made to pay for it with the right hand.
Ben just got through with a good uppercut to start that exchange. And that's why he managed to turn him and put him on the ropes.
He just missed the punch there, Ben slipped over. Impetus took him through. Ben, though, has had his successes in this second round. Again, the right hand. Good shot from Ben. Made Collins miss. And both of them, too, going to the body. Welcome back, Nigel. Ben has Frank Bruno, his soulmate, there in the corner. And his advice is get that jab going, Nigel. Haven't seen a lot of that so far.
Collins just a little bit open there. A very even round, pretty untidy. Ben's got to use his, well, I think both fighters have got to use their jab a little more. They've got to work for their openings. They're both just loading up, looking for the big shot, just becoming a little untidy.
Third round, left hook from Ben. Finds the target. Ben's only lost 3 in his 46-fight career against Michael Watson, Chris Eubank and Sugar Boy Malinga. Proud record. He's never been beaten by an American. Good left hook again, and that time it sent Collins reeling backwards. He felt the weight of that one all right.
Yes, well, that was definitely the best punch of the fight. Beautiful left hook timed by Ben there. And he just countered with that right hand as well.
And every time Ben has his successes, he just shoots a little glance at the corner. And he's beginning to find the target here with ominous regularity as far as Collins is concerned. And 3 more get through on a left hook. And Collins is certainly being forced backwards. And this was a key point in this fight. This granite-chinned Irishman is up here with one of the big punches of the division, of any division. And he's feeling the weight of them.
He is, he's just leaving himself a bit open. He's just thinking about it a little too much before he throws the punch. And Ben's timing good punches into him.
Collins working away to the head in close. crowd didn't like that. They felt something illegal was going on. And then some good body shots on the right hand as well. Two of them fell in. Collins is now in the ascendancy. And a left. Benn looking disorganised for half a minute or so. And he'd started the round so well.
Good flurry here from Collins, putting the pressure on Benn, but this is where Benn is always at his most dangerous, with his back against the ropes.
Yes, you've so often seen him produce a really big punch in those circumstances. But just when you think Collins is on the run of it, isn't it typical of him to come on strong again like that? Crowd trying to urge Benn on with chants of Nigel, Nigel. Uppercut from Benn looked a good shot. Oh, and a left hook again from Benn. And Collins took that so well. A lot of fighters, I think, would have been on the floor from that shot. Well, this round has ebbed and flowed. Both of them have landed with some very solid shots.
And the work is all starting to get a lot cleaner, and they're starting to get their punches on now.
This round so far by a streak. But Collins, even with his punch resistance, can he continue to take punches like that from Benn over a 12-round distance? Benn's round, I would suspect.
Better work there. Collins had a good little spell in the middle of it, but Benn started so well with them crisp punches and really caught Collins flush. And right at the end of the round again, it was Benn on the attack.
This is this spell Benn had right at the start of the round.
And he really got the leverage. He really wound up to that left hook. And Collins did tremendously well to take a punch like that. Collins came back. He's a real warrior. And he had a good spell in the middle of the round where he's trying to put the pressure on Benn, but Benn was just moving his head very well there to keep out of the way. Benn again, the good work, the left hook. He's just getting rolling round, but Collins just a little open in the legs, just a little tremor there for a split second.
Well, we saw in Collins' last fight against Neville Brown, he got hit with a lot of shots, but that was against basically a man who was a middleweight. There's a lot of difference taking those punches and taking those of Benn. Collins may need to get a bit more elusive. Fourth round. Little warning from the Puerto Rican referee, Mr. Rodriguez, for Benn. It's another hard battle. Benn has been in quite a few of them down the years, and you wonder whether they would take their toll. But he has points to prove and things to win again, and that, I think, may well have given him back his edge.
Collins just appears to have a little too much respect for Benn at this point. He's just pausing before he throws a punch, and that's just giving Benn the confidence to land his own.
Good left hook there from Collins, found the punch well, but then a good right hand back from Benn. That's where Collins wants Benn, but watch Benn with his back to the ropes. Look at him come out off those ropes with those hooks. And this could well develop into a thriller. Absolutely key fight, of course, for both men. Benn has talked of retirement for quite a while now, and when fighters do that, you kind of wonder whether their desire and ambition is still there. But he seems to have plenty back here tonight so far anyway. Fourth round.
Benn very much a fighter with a lot of pride. He'll not go out without a tremendous fight.
Down goes Benn. It's only a slip, I think, but he's hurt his ankle, I think. He's hurt his right ankle. Oh dear, is he going to be able to carry on? It looked a very painful fall. Oh dear. Oh, he's really struggling. Can Benn go on? He's okay, he says. Well, I thought for a moment there he'd sprained the ankle. He says he's all right. Takes more than that. But Collins senses here that Benn may be there for the taking for a moment.
And spurred on by the little signs of distress from an ankle injury.
Well, it would be awful if a freak injury like that was to be decisive. Ben is caught by big punches to the head. Oh, and then he's looking away. And it's over. He can't go on with the ankle. He's caught by headshots, and the fight is stopped in the 4th round. Steve Collins wins the big battle, and it was all over very suddenly, and you have to say that that ankle injury played a big part in it. He kind of turned his back on the action for a moment, Ben, as if he couldn't go on with the pain. But isn't that sad?
It is sad. A terrible way to lose a fight like this. Obviously a very important fight. It obviously was a bad injury. He went on for a little bit, but then he mustn't have had the strength in that angle, and he turned away, and Collins landed a few punches, but it was obvious Ben could not continue.
Most unfortunate. Just as that battle was really brewing up, Ben just turned away. Collins hit him with a few head punches at that point for good measure, but my impression was that Ben basically said he couldn't go on. What do you think, Glenn? It's a bit unsatisfactory.
Very unsatisfactory. Frank Bruno obviously very concerned, but I think Ben will be bitterly disappointed. But with an injury, it was obviously very bad. He looked in serious distress. He couldn't go on. You've got a man there with intense pride and would have fought any way he could. But it was obviously a bad trip. He couldn't go on, and Collins has got the victory.
Now let's have a look and see how this injury happened.
And just off balance there, you see he's very twisted on that leg, just trying to get the punch when Collins turned around. He's obviously twisted his ankle quite severely there. Let's see it again. Watch, he gets out of the way of that one, twists violently round to make that punch, and obviously the ankle was not up to it.
And his right ankle has gone. He said after that he was okay to continue, but the action went on for a few more seconds, and then he seemed to just turn his back on it. Now that is unfortunate. I just wonder, Glenn, whether we are now going to have a rematch of this fight.
Well, it certainly was an unsatisfactory end. It was building up to be a very good fight indeed. It was still very close. On my card, I had it even with Ben winning the last round, Collins the first, and the middle even. So it was all there to fight for, an unsatisfactory end to what could have been a tremendous fight.
So just like Chavez de la Hoya, it's over in 4 rounds with an injury playing a part. And that injury is going to need some treatment. They'll have him back to the dressing room, I'm sure, very shortly to have that treated. But Steve Collins is still the WBO super middleweight champion. That's the bottom line at the end of it all. Just as a really savage battle appeared to be developing. And I wonder whether Ben will call it a day there. Frank Bruno looking rather rueful. I wonder if we'll see him back in a ring with the shorts on. It's, of course, a debating point for another day, but look at that. Collins has got vast amount of respect for Ben.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 minutes, 46 seconds of the 4th round, the referee has stopped the contest. Nigel Benn is unable to continue. The winner and still WBO Super Middleweight Champion, Steve Collins.
Well, I'm just wondering whether Nigel Benn, Glenn, should have asked for a bit more time to recover from the injury. I think he could have had up to 5 minutes.
Well, I think in the heat of battle and with the injury the way it was, he probably didn't think of that. But I think he tried to go on. So I think he wanted to go on, but obviously the injury was too bad. Benn's not the type of fighter to turn away. So it was obviously just too much to take.
Successful fourth defence for Steve Collins. But I have a feeling, because of the unsatisfactory nature of the fight, that there may be some talk of a rematch. I think they're trying to get Nigel Benn now to talk to Gary Norman, and he'll maybe explain what happened. There he is, hobbling down. Now then, let's see if we can. Let's go to Gary Norman. Over to Gary Norman. I think he's got Nigel with him.
Nigel, it's a very unsatisfactory way to finish a fight. Tell us what happened.
Well, as you see, me and Steve were throwing punches, and I twisted my ankle, and that's that, man. Very disappointed, but not taking nothing away from Steve. But it's something now where I've got to sit down with my fiancée and say, I honestly think this is it for me. This is it. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming. I'd like to big respect to my No Fear Global, and I wish a safe trip to Australia for Alison and then the girls. I wish you all a safe trip. And most of all, I'd like to thank everybody that supported me, but I got to know when to say, this is it, man. My fiance wants me to stop, so my dad wants me to stop. Don't worry, Dad. I can honestly say, I don't care, I doubt it if I'm going to carry on now. I think, well done, Steve, but, now it's time to thank you all, and I think that's it for me now. Steve, Steve, we ain't no bad blood between us.
Thank you, Nigel Benn. Thanks for giving me the chance to have this fight and make myself a good payday. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. He's been a great champion. The old Nigel is gone. This Nigel's not the one that was around 4 or 5 years ago. We missed that chance, but he's still a great warrior, and I want everybody to give him a great round of applause. Well done, Nigel.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Manchester. Thank you, Alex Ferguson.
Well, we have some outstanding questions to be answered here in Manchester. The thoughts of Jim Watt and Barry McGuigan to follow as Steve consoles Dixon Benn and Frank Bruno, members of the losing Benn camp tonight. Come back to us, and we also will bring you the action from the Commonwealth and IBF Intercontinental Light Middleweight dual title fight tonight between Chris Pyatt and Steve Foster.